As someone who enjoys both railroad history and armor, I couldn't help but notice these two breeds of steel monsters are intertwined in the history books and, coincidentally, in video games. Today, we'll be taking a look at 3 tank games, World of Tanks Blitz, World of Tanks, and Warthunder, and examine the locomotive types represented in these wildly popular tank games. Starting with the game that kicked off my love of tanks, and with 9 years under my belt, World of Tanks Blitz. The first locomotive we come across is a Russian E-Class steam locomotive. These locomotives had a 010 wheel arrangement and were built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1915 for the Russian government. But due to the Bolshevik takeover in 1917, 200 of these engines were abandoned in the US and eventually became the legendary Decapod class. When World War II kicked off, these engines were put into production and hauled wartime freight to the front lines, and in 1947, they were retired. A total of 3,193 were produced. These locomotives can be found on dead rail, desert sands, and canal. On Alpenstadt, we can see a locomotive that definitely isn't foreign territory. With the map having a German Alps setting, it's strange to find the iconic red and orange of a Southern Pacific GS4 Class 484. This locomotive needs almost no introduction, but for those who don't know, the Southern Pacific GS4 is a class of streamlined 484 Northern type steam locomotives operated by the Southern Pacific Railroad from 1941 to 1958. A total of 28 were built by the Lima Locomotive Works, numbered 4430 to 4457, with the most infamous being 4449. This locomotive can be found on Alpenstadt. On Ghost Factory, we can see 2 steam locomotives on the outskirts of the factory. There are 3 possible locomotives this could be: a Hungarian MAV Class 424, a Polish PT31, or a German DR Class 01.5. Next up, we arrive at New Bay. Down near the docks, we can see a couple of 6-axle locomotives. These are based off of the EMD E8 series of locomotives. A total of 450 E8s were built from August 1949 to January 1954. These 6-axle locomotives had 2,500 horsepower and were dual service, meaning they pulled both freight and passenger. Here on Faust, we see a strange streamlined diesel locomotive. While this looks like something out of Wolfenstein, the closest I was able to get was the Burlington Pioneer Zephyr train set. The Pioneer Zephyr is a diesel-powered train set built by the Budd Company in 1934 for the Burlington route. This train set was the second diesel streamliner built for mainline service in the United States and the first to enter revenue service. On World of Tanks PC, we can see more of the Russian E-Class, more detailed this time though. This locomotive can be found on way too many maps. On Live Oaks and Highway, we can see a stunning streamlined passenger train. This 6-axle locomotive is an EMD E6, painted up in the Western Pacific passenger paint scheme. The EMD E6 was a 2,000 horsepower locomotive manufactured by Electromotive Corporation. The E6 was manufactured from November 1939 to September 1942, with a total of 91 produced. On Warthunder, we can see, once again, our old pal, the Russian E-Class. I swear, it's like these E-Class engines are in like every tank game ever. On American Desert, we can see an EMD F3 in something that resembles the Burlington route paint scheme. This locomotive has a meme status in the Warthunder community, with people making videos like tank versus train or tank versus plane. You can also destroy the train, but why would you want to do that? I hope y'all enjoyed this fun video. Thanks for watching, and see you out there on the hot iron.